Hello, 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 and welcome to another episode of Podcast Pasta. That's a podcast that's like pasta, not the podcast that's about pasta. As always, I'm your host, Mike, and today I'm joined with Green. You are a artist. I think if I'm right, you're like a 2D or like a digital artist. Green, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, thank you. Thank you, Mike. Yes, I am a 2D artist. I sometimes delve into other things like 3D and stuff, but mostly, yeah, 2D.
Yeah, but your work is mostly digital, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yes, I very rarely do traditional stuff. That is true.
Okay. So, Green, I gave you a very brief introduction, but I guess if you want to kind of expand on that a bit and explain in your own words, like, what you do and what motivates the work that you put out.
Well, the type of stuff I do is just kind of, I suppose, I just draw a lot of women. That's what I do. I think I'm just a woman artist. I That's primarily what I do. And sometimes I do backgrounds and stuff, but mostly that. And why I draw women because I think they're beautiful most of the time. I just see around the world and I'm like, wow, that's a very pretty lady, and it just gives me inspiration. But it's also my work. So you draw women. People see that you draw women, and they commission you drawing more women. That's kind of been going on for a few years now.
You like drawing
And
goyles? I'm sorry, I'm messing
you're
around.
fine.
Um, so I guess, I get a lot of artists that come on this show. Some of them have pursued art in like, studied it in a collegiate sense and, like a more
Mm,
advanced sense. Others have pursued it as more of, I guess, how would you say, like just as kind of a hobby, as something that they've studied
mm.
on the side. So for yourself, um, I guess, what is your background in art? Is it something that you have studied or are formally studying, or is it just something that you pursued as like a passion on your own end?
It's a passion thing. I have tried applying for university, but it did not go well. And no, I don't have a formal education in art.
If you don't mind me asking, like, what do you think was the issue with you applying?
The issue was that my family couldn't afford pay my university, so I could only apply for tuition, and I didn't get it. I was really close though. I was really close, but I didn't get in, and so unfortunately, I was not able to get art education like I wanted to.
Oh, well, yeah, I'm sorry to hear that, but I mean,
That's fine.
nonetheless, your work does look amazing. The reason that I was kind of asking about like the nature of like, are you a digital artist, is that this is just kind of what I'm gauging, is that a lot of your work kind of has like a sketchiness aspect to it, and I've talked to like artists in the past where like for example, Alexi Gorbot, he's very traditional in the sense that he's like ink to paper that he then scans and like uploads like that. So he doesn't like do computer digital art like that. So I guess I'm curious specifically, like, how do you create your? I guess, how do you create your pieces?
I usually if I do illustration, I just sit down and I use Krita for as a software choice. And I just kind of do everything there. I don't really use mixed media. I don't really do sketching on paper IRL. I do have some pictures that are more. They have the traditional look to them. Some people ask me, "Hey, wait, is that traditional?" And I'm like, "No." I have another software that I specifically use for drawing sketch things with pencil and stuff. It's called Rebel. I got it very cheaply for $10 or something, and it's like amazing for this sort of stuff. It's the brushes are really cool, but um, not to tangent too much. Yeah, it's that's my process. I just kind of sit down and I draw. That's it.
Very straightforward. I just sit down and record. And not really much to it. Um, But I kind of want to go back to something that you said earlier, and that, like, a lot of your subjects are mainly like, I mean, you do character art, but it's focused specifically on like women, right? And that's like not an uncommon thing with like a lot of artists. And I always find that kind of interesting because, I know there's kind of this like idea in media that like women are like the paragons of like beauty and like, they are like the muses to a lot of artists. So I guess, kind of tangential, loosely linking, that train of thought to my question here is, I guess, what is your inspiration for, I guess, a lot of your pieces? I guess what would you consider your like biggest muse in life when you create art? That sounds weird to say, but you know what I mean.
um, it. I mean, women. Women are beautiful. I don't know. I really like anatomy. I really like character drawing, and it's just the shapes are so. I don't know. I think when you become an artist, you just can get one of those like this like weird ticks. I don't even know how to describe it, but some things are just satisfying to do or to look at, and women is just are like one of those pardon to say things that are just very satisfying to draw. The shapes are nice, and it's fun. It's really fun to draw women to me, and that's why it inspires me to do more because it's fun.
I mean, not to say that guys can't be like, beautiful in that way, right? And I think, but I get what you're saying, right? Like everyone
Yeah.
has like kind of that. A lot of artists kind of have that thing that they hyper fixate on.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes very specific, sometimes very general. So to understand the nature of your work, you currently work like basically as like a freelancer, taking like constant commissions, and you put out a lot of work. I think. I'm sorry if I couldn't exactly get this information, but what's your usual output? Like, how much do you put out on like, let's say, a weekly or monthly basis?
I don't really have numbers for that, but I do draw every day and at least finish a piece every day. But do I post it though? That is a bit different. But some months I don't post at all because things happen, life happens. I can't do things all the time. So I think at the very least, a picture every 3 to 4 days, if you generalize like very a lot.
So I guess I guess I would, to follow up on that. What would you say is the hardest part of doing like this type of freelance work for yourself? Because I know for some people it can be like lining up clients to actually get work. For other people, it's like a time management aspect of like juggling different projects and things like that. And sometimes it's like pricing for like how much you should charge for the work that you put out. So I guess for yourself, what would be the hardest part of like doing freelance art like this?
I think the hardest part for me is my mental health. It's really hard sometimes to force yourself to do work. Um, and it sounds bad, right? Like, oh, why would you force yourself? But you got to bring food on the table, and you also want to have the best part, the best art you can possibly put out every time. And you're only a human. Sometimes things just don't work out your way, and you have to force yourself to do things that you might did not want to do. And that's kind of the biggest thing. I also have big troubles with focus. Um, Sometimes it just feels like my pen is like made out of hot metal, and I just touch it for a few minutes. I'm like, yeah, I can't do this anymore, and I have to kind of like cool down my hand, metaphorically speaking, and then come back to it and just kind of do it through the whole day, which is really frustrating. But that's just the sort of problems I have to deal with. I imagine other people have to deal with different problems, as you have mentioned. But that's, yeah.
So I guess with your freelance work, do you ever, because again, unfortunately, I didn't have the chance to like look through your work and see like what is necessarily what is or isn't like, freelance commission. I think recently you did like, for example, like fan art of like, Chun-Li in, as like her Street Fighter 6 variant. But
Mhm.
I guess I want to ask, like, how often do you like take breaks from your freelance work to do like personal work, like just something like for yourself to put out, or do you like rarely do that?
Mm, I don't think there is a I don't think there is a way to describe that. It's not systematic. It's random. Sometimes I'm so tired of commissions that she can't do them anymore, and I have to pause them. And then uh I do my own stuff. Most of the time, though, sorry.
No, no, no. Go ahead. Yeah.
Most of the time, though, when I'm doing commissions, I also somehow manage to do my own stuff as well because it's kind of an inertia thing. If I'm working a lot, I can work more, if that makes sense. So just by inertia, if I draw a lot, I probably have a lot of energy afterwards. Even though I finished a lot of commissions that day, I can do something for myself by the end of the day.
So I guess I don't know. The answer to this might be obvious, but I guess it's good to answer or to ask, I should say. But if you could, let's say hypothetically, be put in a situation where you get like like I guess a more stable position outside of like freelance, like let's say you're hired to do like art for I don't know, like a video game or something. Like, is that something that you think you would prefer for yourself, or despite like some of the disadvantages of freelancing, do you see yourself just sticking like wanting to do like just freelance like this?
Hmm. For now, I think I'll stick to freelance due to just the fact how unpredictable my output is. I think a company would not want to work with me because of that. Uh, while freelancing, I kind of have this freedom of, oh, this month I'll work 5,000% of my usual output, but next month I'll rest. I can kind of juggle those things and, um, think fucking god, I'm earning enough money that I can afford doing things like that. I just can't 1 month be like, I'm not working. I need to rest. I need to um get a break. I mean, same thing, right? But I basically can just do stuff for my own and don't think about commissions. And when you're regularly employed, that is not a privilege we get. So I'll stick to freelance for now.
You say was the biggest like I always like to treat these shows like, let's say somebody's a fan of your work and they're really curious about like how you got into art because maybe they want to like, take that advice for themselves because they're an aspiring artist or an aspiring creative. So I guess like phrasing this as kind of like, potential advice for somebody, what do you think was the biggest mistake that you made when you first started pursuing like art, I guess, as kind of this career?
Huh. Interesting. Actually, I've never been asked that before.
It's such a
I
job
think
interview question. I don't really like it that often, but it works. It is an interesting question. Oh, yeah.
yeah, hold on. I think the biggest mistake and a beginning artist can make is doing something that they don't want to do just because it's popular. um it's so many people, like, you're not gonna believe this, but there's so many people who ask me, Green, how do you do commissions? Can you help me out? And I'm like, sure, of course. And they're like, okay, so to get big on Twitter, do you just draw like boobs? Is that what you do? Do you draw like furry boobs? And I'm like, I mean, yeah, that's one of the ways. Is that something you want to do? And they're like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether or not I want to do that. It's just like I want to get commissions. And I'm like, but like, do you really imagine working something that you Like, imagine drawing something every day that you don't like drawing. That is just hell on earth. And usually what happens is that these people, they just quit because they find it frustrating. Because the reality is to become big on Twitter or any other social media. I think at least I only managed to get anywhere on Twitter, but it's to be consistent. Because there's no almost luck and consistency, in my opinion, right? If you're consistent enough for a long amount of time, you're bound to be lucky at least once. And the bigger you grow, the more chances you get to strike big, So if you cannot be consistent, if you're not enjoying what you're doing, you're kind of setting yourself up for failure immediately. So just don't draw stuff that you don't want to do. Like,
this next question that I've been trying to I've been trying to reword the phrasing of it, because in the past I've asked people about like their hot take regarding what they do as a creative, but I'm trying to reword it to basically be being an artist. What do you think? What is your biggest criticism of the art scene currently?
The biggest
Give me a
criticism of art.
spicy take.
Oh my god. I don't want to get too spicy.
Come on, nobody's listening this far into the episode. Go crazy. I mean, don't go too crazy, but
Okay.
Have fun with it, What's the point in life, right?
I think I think people treat pictures too much like real people. Sometimes I think that I'm not going to talk about that. I'm going to talk wait, hold on. I just think that there's like certain things, some certain times when you get in trouble because you've drawn a character in a wrong way, or you put, actually no, when you put a character in a bad situation and people are upsetting you because by doing that the character, you're somehow hurting real people. And I'm just not sure about that. I'm just like, that does not just click in my brain at all. I like, for example, I don't know, like, because the stuff that I'm gonna talk about is a bit dark. For example, can I talk about that? Is that okay?
Yeah, go for it. Worst case, I edit it out.
Okay. But like, I think if an artist is depicting, sexual assault in their works, in a comic, for example, it does not make them enjoy that. It's just kind of they're taking out the context that is important. What's the context of that in the story, right? And there's like, I think a lot of very young people on the internet.
You're cutting out again. Hello?
Works, and I just don't agree with that. I think that's just how artists are talking about things that matter to them. That's how they maybe, I don't know, work through some issues in their life, right? And just being like, oh, you can't draw that, that's offensive, like assault and whatnot, and I just don't agree with that. I think people need to chill. If you don't like stuff like that, don't read it. It's not for you.
I think that's the reason why Podcast Pasta probably is not monetized. I'm kidding. No,
feel free to cut it out.
No, it's fine. That's whatever. I don't get money for this anyways. But no, I guess that's an interesting point, because I think it's kind of this, like, with like more sensitive topics, you kind of have to I guess there's like more of a tactfulness that you have to approach it, because of the way I see it from like, a film and stuff like that, is that, there's this worry that it could be kind of exploitative, that it's just like shock for the sake of shock. And you do see like a lot of artists doing that. And, there's no like clear lines for these things, like there's stuff that I think I find in good taste that other people don't. And, vice versa, stuff that I don't find in good taste that like other people are fine with. So, yeah, I mean, I guess just throwing my own 2 cents in there, I think it's just a matter of like, how tactful you are with approaching the subject. But no, I think that's an interesting point, and I think it's always good to kind of have these back and forths over like, you know, like the depiction of these types of things. But no, I do appreciate that answer. Um, oh, where's it going with my train of thought on this next question? Um, so I guess you know, with the rise of social media, a lot of art is very like I guess how would I say it? Especially like a lot of modern art is very collaborative in a sense that it's no person is an island and that we're all like just kind of interacting and engaging with each other. Um, so I guess for yourself, are there any like dream projects or dream collaborations that you would want to work on yourself?
Ooh. Um, Dream collaboration, some artists that I would like to make a project with. Am I interpreting the question correctly?
Yeah, yeah, like I don't know, like for example, I have like artists in the past that they done work for like VTubers, like in terms of
Mm.
doing fan art for them or doing like helping them with their models. Is there anything like that you would be interested in? I mean, I'm just talking like in a broader sense.
Mm-hmm. Honestly, when it comes to art specifically, I don't think I really know. However, I don't know if it's like adjacent at all, but I was always thinking about making a visual novel, and there's like some amazing artists that I would like to kind of make a project like that with. That'd be awesome. I cannot remember the names right now, unfortunately, but there's a there's so much. It's just especially, but it's again not really art, digital art, 2D art related. Musicians, oh my god, I think those are the biggest ones that I would like to collab with. I think the idea of kind of art mixed with music is really interesting to me. What I'm trying to say is that I think I don't know if that's like a kind of a me thing, but oftentimes when I draw my pictures, I can kind of imagine a song going along with it. And I think kind of posting your pictures along with that song would be very interesting. And that's kind of something that's kind of visual novels are, isn't it? Like it's kind of what it is. That in text.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, I mean, I think your style would be very interesting to see in like a lot of visual novels. And hey, you're on Podcast BUSTA, so you're one step closer. You know what I'm saying? Getting yourself out there with um. But I guess so. I guess kind of following up on, or in discussing your work, I don't know how much of your like work you necessarily have like planned ahead, but are there any like or like any like really interesting pieces in the future that you're looking forward to like showing off to people that you would feel like good enough talking about right now?
Um, I have a few projects in the work, but I'm not the type of guy to really have really big projects happening. I just don't have the stamina, to be honest. But there are a few pictures I'm working on, and I don't, I don't think they're that interesting. I mean, they're cool. I'm enjoying working on them. And I think they're going to be very epic and everybody's going to like them, of course. But passion projects and whatnot, they're kind of not right now, so they're not coming out anytime soon, unfortunately. I just have too many things going on right now with life and commission and work and just everything at once. I don't have the stamina to um, do all of that at the same time.
Well, I mean, don't sell yourself short, though. I mean, like, I think recently you gained like a huge follower boost. Like, I think you went up to like, at least when I checked, like 10K followers on like Twitter, right?
Oh yeah. Well, it it's kind of weird, right? Because I'm sure a lot of artists that been growing their accounts on Twitter for some time, they'll realize that so many times when you were drawing this like passion project that you've been working on for so long that you're so proud of, and you're thinking, oh my god, this is gonna pop off. It's like clearly what my subscribers followers are into. This is gonna go so hard, and then you post it and it's kind of underperforms, and you're like, it's genuinely such a, I don't even know. it such a humbling experience, I guess. You're just thinking that you figured it out, you know everything, this is gonna hit, and it just does not, and it happens to me every single time. However, the opposite of that is you just drawing something, like doodling on the, I don't know, in the park for 5 minutes, posting it because whatever, and it blows up, and it's your biggest piece ever, and then people coming up to you and they're like, oh my god, I think this is the best picture you've ever drawn, and I'm like, what are you saying? Like, and I think that picture I drew that kind of blew me up recently was kind of that. I just kind of drew my OC. I was like thinking, oh, I'm gonna just draw something Halloweeny, and I was with my friends in VC, with a friend in VC, and it was like, what if you make her cleavage kind of pumpkin shaped? And that's kind of all. Like, I'm like, and that's how the picture happened, and it blew up, and I was like, okay.
Yeah, and then you just got blessed by the algorithm gods. But no, I mean, congrats on your success so far, and I hope that
Oh, thank you.
your work gets further exposed, because I do really like your style. We are approaching, like, you told me that or we agreed that, like, 30 minutes would be a good time frame for you. I guess real fast, if you want to shout out where people can commission your work, because I think you are still taking commission right
Yes,
now. Yeah,
sir.
where people can basically just contact you, engage with your art. Go ahead, shout yourself out.
It's Twitter, Green AJD, at Green AJD Twitter. I have also Blue Sky, the same at. Um, that's pretty much it. I have Linktree. That's kind of it. Like, I mostly use Twitter, but I check my Blue Sky as well. There's also my email in my Linktree. So if you'd like that, some people do message me on email to commission me. Go ahead. I have Discord. You're not gonna believe it. At Green AGD as well. Unbelievable. I think if you want to contact me, you'll be able to. Go ahead.
Yeah, and you do have your own server, right? I'm sorry, I blanked out for a sec, but I can't remember if you mentioned that you have you have your own server, right?
I do have a server. I'm kind of not promoting it because I like to keep it not too big. But if you want to hang out with me, I hang out there every day, literally, in VC. If you would like that, if you like some art community of funny people and nice people and fun people, join my server. I just don't want there to be like 300 people there. I like it to be kind of compact. So I don't promote it much. But sure.
Cool, cool, cool. Well, thank you all so much for listening so far. A bit of a shorter episode here, but I always like to give those out as a little treat. If you want to support Podcast Pasta, one of you just needs to buy me a Chipotle burrito. Yeah, you guys know my address. You can just send me the gift card. You don't have to, DoorDash me an Uber burrito, but that's all it costs to keep this show running. Take care.